I want to say thank you to everyone, all the support. Thank you for keeping us real and honest. All right. We're going to pick back up right about now. I'm here with Coach Cass. She's a woman's love coach. And she's dropping some gems that's going to educate some of you amazing women that's tapping in and watching this. And of course, a lot of us men who also want to understand things a lot better and clearer and maybe pick up some tips on how we could do better and make things easier for the women to help us, right? So as we continue, the next question. A lot of people say that they want love, but secretly they're addicted to chaos. How can someone tell the difference?
So my Once a Woman Live that I do in October in South Florida, that was a whole theme last year, peace versus chaos. Because the more I spoke to professional women about having a peaceful relationship, the more I started to realize they had no idea what that felt like, what that looked like, what that experience was. Even romantic comedies, all it shows is chaos, right? Like, think about it. Someone needing rescuing, some crazy stuff happening, a slap, a walk away, a closed door, a run back. I remember when I first started dating my husband, we got in an argument and this man stormed out of my apartment. 5 minutes later, I hear a knock at the door. Do, 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 do. He's like, "You didn't run after me." I said, "What this look like?" What does it look like? You want me to hang on to your ankle and say, "No, baby, no, baby, please." Like this,
He
this
wanted
is
you,
not
Gina,
me.
Gina. He
This
wanted you to
this
play
is
Martin.
not TV, right? We literally have not been taught how to have peaceful relationships. For the majority of y'all that are tuning in either live or replay, right? When you start to think about the couples you've been surrounded by, more than likely the majority of them is straight chaos. So this is a whole new understanding, something new to learn, something new to embody. Because next time you talk to somebody on the phone, just call them up. I want you to set a timer for how long it takes for them to start complaining about something, right? Something they don't have, something they don't like, something they don't want. And so the majority of conversations have turned into commiseration versus celebration. And that's a problem, just overall with people. So I just want to say that yes, we want more peace, but we have no idea what that feels like. So then we gravitate to chaos because that's like a safe place. So we have to do better at rewiring and learning how to operate in peace in order to allow it in. And even peaceful men
So good.
seem boring. That's another thing, right? Papa Keith, let's keep it real. The peaceful men are the ones that seem boring. Like, oh, I don't want that. That's a herb. I don't even know if they say herb anymore, but that guy is whack. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want that dude. You want the guy with swag, the one that kind of looks like he might get arrested tomorrow. It's just like this doesn't help real future goals, right? This is what I talk about, the actions not being in alignment with what they say they want, right? Straight lies.
For real. For real. Thank you so much. Um, can healed people really date unhealed people successfully? And
Yeah.
I'm gonna tap into this one.
Go ahead. What you got?
All right. So I feel personally that part of my love language is to be able to heal others, you know, from their traumas, from things, because I have a lot of patience. So because of that, patience is like my superpower.
Yeah.
And in order to deal with trauma or people who've been through trauma, gotta have patience. That's like the key component. So I always felt like it was like a gift of mine to be able to do that for women. But my goodness, I didn't realize how much of a toll as an unprofessional therapist
He's like, here is
that
my invoice.
for real it has taken on my life. Not even just with one person. I would just say over a period of time. Like I'm now in my life right now looking back like, wow, like amazing women, but like I can't believe that I this is was my way of life.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I get that. So let's talk about it, right? So I do
Hmm.
feel like unhealed people can be with healed people. I'll tell you, when I first started dating my husband, I told you the story of what I had been through. So
Hmm.
trust wasn't a thing. We went to a family's game night, And he went out on the phone. He didn't go out the room. He went out the house on the phone. I was like, oh, hell, here we go again, right? Here he go, right? So a good like 15, 20 minutes passed. I was like, I'm going to go check on him. So I went out. He was sitting in his car. And I'm just standing in front of the car thinking that I looked calm as can be, right? So he wound down the window, old school wind down. He wound down the window, stuck his head out the window and was like, Cass, I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy. And he wound the window back up. I picked my face up and I went inside and I said, you know what? I'm no longer going to hold against him what another man did. This man has shown me nothing for me not to trust him. So that's when I decided I was going to give trust. And that transformed the way I dealt with him, spoke to him, questioned him. Sometimes y'all be out here interrogating like the private investigator you just met, dude. Like, hello. Can we not treat him like that? Like he's on a murder trial, you know what I'm saying? Like prosecution, cross-examination. So it changed everything. But how we got there is I was vulnerable enough to share what I had been through. And then he was kind enough, just like you said, right? You have a superpower, right? To not throw it back in my face, to not be like, that's why you jacked up and got trust issues. He ain't paying me Drake. You know what I mean? So it's very important that that on both ends that you're able to respect each other's journey and be there to kind of support each other through it. For instance, I have a client that decided to make a relationship contract with her man, right? That was something they decided on. And he asked her a specific question. And she was like, you know what? I don't have an answer for that because what I know, the reason why I don't like somebody to violate my privacy is because my ex-husband was always violating my privacy. I didn't feel like I had any privacy. He worked for Homeland, you know what I'm saying? So he was all into business. And so she was like, I have to think about that deeper. So then it's also being able to be honest and say, okay, it's okay if I don't have the answer today. Allow me to process really how I feel, not based on the last man, but based on how I feel with you. So it's so many things. And it's multi-layered.
Yes. Thank you so much. What's your response to people who say there's no good men left, and you did touch this before, or there's no good women left? So, earlier you did talk about the good men, but now here's an opportunity to talk about the women or both, just to sum it up for people just joining us.
Yeah. So when they talk about no good men left, I want you to close your eyes and think about somebody right now that just got married, that just got in a great relationship, that you're actually excited for. Somebody in your life has entered a great relationship in the last year or two that's in your same demographic, that's in your same town, that has your same circumstance. It's an excuse, right? And the excuse is because you're kind of sad that it hasn't happened for you yet. Let's be real. Whether you're a man or a woman, you start to wonder, how come everybody else is chosen but me? And that's real. And a part of you doesn't want to die alone. And it starts to get scary when you start to think of, wow, like who's going to take care of me? Who's going to be there for me? The kids have left the house, right? If you had kids, right? The parents are now, unfortunately, leaving this earth. And you feel like an orphan and you start to wonder, like, will I find my person or do I commit my life to like good service and, getting some cute kids or cute animals or cute whatever, you know what I mean? Like get a farm tree, buy a farm, I don't know, move out the country, like start a new life. And so instead of avoiding it by burying yourself in busy, I invite you to start looking at what are you actually doing to attract love? Who do you actually entertain in your everyday life and do they deserve to be there? Because a lot of times you got what I call space fillers. So you got some folk filling the space that should be a real relationship, but instead you're holding these jokers in place and you wonder why you're upset, right? You got Joe, you got Shanika, I'm sorry to Joe and Shanika. These are just random names, right? But you got these individuals that are just there and ain't nothing happening with them. So a part of it is scary to clear the space and make room for love. There has to be space there for someone else to step in. You can't be out here chatting it up every night at 9 p.m. with the same person thinking you're going to have time to talk to somebody else. You're going to be like, oh, I'm so tired. That's because you just spent all night talking to Joe. Joe ain't got no business on your phone. I don't care if he's your best friend since elementary school. Stop that, right? You got to start making room for love.
Thank you so much. Touch on the women, a little bit more in terms of like, are there any good women left? Like, and maybe
Yeah.
how what the perspective is on that.
Yeah. So I believe so, but that's mainly because I work with women every single day and they're
Mm,
absolutely phenomenal. They really are. So to the men, I want to check y'all on what you've been looking for. A lot of guys I talk to, they looking for the long hair, big booty, totally fit, and sir, you haven't seen a gym since 2022. So it's really starting to look at what's realistic outside of just the aesthetic. Because there are good men and good women out here that don't fit the TV stereotype, but they're amazing. Yes, we want people to take care of their health and care about themselves, but are we being realistic with the bit bam boom? And more of, like, how do you connect? Is she kind? Is she loyal? Does she love you? Does she show that? How does she take care of you? These are the things that we forget about way too often. And the cooking thing, I know that's a big thing, but listen, no woman, like, unless she wanted to be a chef, in her heart of hearts was 5 years old saying, you know what, I want to wake up every morning and I want to figure out the menu for my family. It's like a bane of many women's existence, the question, what's for dinner? You know what I mean?
hmm
So being able to come together of what a partnership could look like between you is a lot more feasible than just looking for someone to take care of you, because then she'll think that you're looking for your mother, and that's what your mother is for. You know what I mean? Like, and is, so many women are not looking to be a nurse or a purse. They're seeking companionship. And I would say a lot of good women are still available, but sometimes you do have to have those extra deep conversations and not only lead with trying to run your hand up her thigh. There's so much more to life than good sex. And the average sex act is like 4 minutes. So the way we get on in society about sex is just so crazy to me because it's just like, sir and ma'am, like, it really don't take that long. You know what I mean? So unless you're into some tantra stuff, and that's a whole nother situation, right? But it's just really and truly, sex is just a part of what makes life so great. But when you get with the right person, it's explosive in a whole nother way.
Do you think there's any time limit to fall in love with someone?
Time limits.
Yeah, meaning like there's no way you could be in love with someone in a week. There's no way you could be in love with someone in 2 weeks. There's no way you could be in love with someone or fall so deep or fast in love with someone in a month.
Listen, I definitely think that there's infatuation and lust and, just the fairy tale thing of it all, right? So I know many people that rush into relationships because they feel like they found someone, right? Hey, you like my color, I like that color, right? You like the same faith, you like the same TV show, you laugh at my jokes, you asked me how my day was. For some people, they haven't been treated that well in their lives. So anybody that comes along will seem amazing, right? I just had a client that had a guy was like, "Oh, you my wife," right? But when she spent enough time with him, she was like, "I don't like this dude," right? No matter who, when I was dating a man, several men told me, God told me that you were my wife. I was like, God ain't tell me nothing. Right. So it sometimes it could be a little bit scary when
Mhm.
individuals say things like that, like, oh, I just know you're the person for me. Like, time will tell. Allow me to get to know you. My problem is when we rush into things too quickly and when we don't involve the people that are closest to us. So, for those of you listening, I want you to start to think about who are the important people in your life and how do you involve them in this process? Because I'm going to tell you right now, like for me, when my husband and I got married, it was like a family reunion on both sides. We got married, destination wedding in Mexico. 80 people came from different sides. They were complaining coming to the wedding. After the wedding, they were like, oh, when's the anniversary trip? Can we come? Right? And then now when anything we have is happening, everybody show up because they want to see so and so on his side. My people want to see his side. It's like we're a family and we forget about this in dating. We have these silo dating experiences. It's kind of like old school courting, right? But it's like, right, new age. Oh, I like you, you like me. We engage tough, tough ish to the people who don't know or don't care or don't want it. I'm like, no, involve the kids, involve the family. You know, this is your friend. It don't got to be your man. It don't got to be your woman. Like, this is someone I'm getting to know, and that should be okay. And check your family on boundaries and all that stuff. It's just like, it should be okay to introduce family to people that you're not that serious about, because they see things that you don't see. Hello. And then you also want them to get to know this person just like you are, have their own relationships. As you decide, this is my spouse, they should be like, oh, she could come over anytime. Oh, he could come over anytime. Oh, that's a good man, Savannah. You know what I mean? And it's not just the accolades, but really how this person shows up continuously. So dating is a process that's not just between two people, but between you and the people that are closest to you, to really form bonds, so that when you have holidays, you don't have to choose. Everybody could come together. You see what I'm saying? Like, all this choosing sides and who spends which holiday with, like, everybody could come. Like, I spend all my holidays with all the family. Everybody can come. Everybody's invited. At a birthday party, people be like, yo, where's your dad? Why you ain't bring your dad? You know what I mean? It's a beautiful thing when your family and your friends could come together and you're building a life, not just a sexual kinship in the dark. You know, if that's what you're for, then that's what you're for. This ain't your podcast episode. This is for the people who are more marriage minded and want a true commitment. It's like, stop thinking about just you, and what does the whole life look like, and how do you build a life with someone versus just a one-time situation.
I love it. And you're absolutely right. And I move in that same fashion. My mother is my litmus test. You know what I mean? So I totally understand what you're talking about there. Um, how important is femininity and masculinity in modern relationships?
Oh, hallelujah, right? This feminine, masculine. Ooh, you got to be feminine. You got to put on a bustier and a tutu. You got to walk around in a robe and spritz sage, right? And then the men, you know, you got to step up. You got to talk with a deep voice. You got to pay bills. Man, it is so stressful, right? Because majority of the women I work with, they're in masculine roles, right? So they're VPs, CEOs, lawyers, partners. You know what I mean? Like, they doing the things and they have to lay down the law in the boardroom. But when they come home, they would like to be feminine. But the question is their man manning up? Right? Or do they still have to make all the decisions because the man's just looking for somebody to take care of them, which is just another thing to do for our ladies. So the dynamics of the feminine masculine is more of a conversation. Women can rest in their feminine majority of the time if there is a man there to be masculine, to take care of the
Mm,
things. But if
mm.
she consistently, right, has to take care of the house, the kids, the car, the schedule, the this, the that, you know, like, after a while, sis is rough. You could cut her words with steel. You know, it's rough out here when a saw, because literally what she's seeking is to be taken care of. But on both sides, we are all seeking to be taken care of. So, for instance, my husband, he's a person that doesn't do well with tone, right? Haitian man, I'm Jamaican, and you know, Jamaican women, we could be a bit strong, right? Just a little bit. And so it is a constant conversation. I didn't say I had this on down pack, right? I got the cute feminine clothes, but that still don't mean feminine is in here, right? So I stay working on it, right? So he'll be like, "Are you okay?" But he's started to study me, right? So we've been
Mm.
together like 14 years, but it's still like, when you care enough to study your person, he has realized, wow, she's raised by a lineage of independent women. My grandmother just turned 91 today, right? And when she was 88, coming up from Jamaica, she had a big duffel bag. So, coming out the airport, she, my husband's like, yo, grandma, let me carry that for you. No, man, I have it, right? And she's there dragging the duffel bag. Obviously, he helped her, but that was her natural state. I don't need no help from no man, right? I don't need your help. My mother, she could do everything all by herself, right? So when I'm making some decisions, he's just like, oh, I can see exactly where that comes from. It's a rewiring, right? It's a conversation like, hey, babe, next time, can we talk about this? You know, it's like, oh, I didn't even think about that. Why? Because I have been raised by super independent women that had to do all on their own, and the man was not there to help them out, right? So we have to start thinking about these things of, who are you with? What have they been through? what has the conversation been in their lives around relationship dynamics? But this is if you care enough, right? Is this the person that you want to be with, right? You want to dig deep, right? These are the things. Now, what makes me more feminine? Being on somebody's island like I just was yesterday, right? Being in a beautiful dress or in a pool with a nice drink and some jerk chicken looking at the beach, right? Of course, we can all be feminine in those environments where somebody else is waiting on you hand and foot, the house, the room is clean, somebody else comes in to clean it up. Of course, right? So how do we bring femininity into our normal lives? Get the house cleaner, get the chef, get the chauffeur. And if you can't do those things, like look at the little ways that you could bring joy into your life, because where femininity really comes in is where's the joy. And if you're not smiling every day or having peaceful moments every day, it is very easy to harden up. And for our men, we got to man up. I know for a fact that you probably have some enablers in your life, like your mother, like your sister, like your cousins, right? That will like I was talking to a guy, and he is consistently reminded by his family that his wife is lucky to have him.
Mm,
I'm like, that's not helpful, right? That's not
yeah.
that's not helpful to the wife, right? So then that's how he acts. Like I'm the king of Zamunda and you're lucky to have me, right? That is not that is not being masculine. So to me, being masculine is being able to take care of the house in a way where your woman can feel the rest and the cradle and secure enough to just be. And let me tell you, the sex is even greater, gentlemen, when your woman can be like that. But she can't be like that if you're not taking care of things at home. Not just the bills, but literally the mental load that the whole internet is talking about. We got a lot on our minds. How do you help to alleviate that? Start to say, hey, babe, I was thinking for dinner tonight, I'm a cook, blah, blah, blah. You know how amazing that is? Let me tell y'all something. Like you thought about it, you bought the groceries, and you started it. Well, amen. It wasn't a conversation. Just think about the random questions you ask every single day. Could you just answer that yourself, sir? Right? And do something amazing and see what happens over time. Just look at the weight off her shoulders. They start to drop. And you're like, oh, girl, you looking good. You looking real good.
Great stuff. Great stuff. What's one sentence people should stop saying immediately in relationships?
I think it's more of the play by play. When you get in that argument and you're like, well, when you said this and you said this and then you did this. No, you didn't do that. No, I did this. Like when you get in that like replay, like you're trying to rewind the tape and it's based on people's memory, that doesn't help anybody. Get to the emotion, get to the feeling. I felt hurt because what I interpreted was, right? So it's not playing back what they said, because of course they're going to be like, I ain't say that. Okay. Well, when you said whatever you said, this is what I felt. And then for you to say, well, I'm sorry you felt that way is not the answer. Right? When you're apologizing, and you could read Gary Chapman, I think, 5 apologies, right? 5 ways to apologize. He's the same one that did love languages, right? So it's the 5 types of apologies. And you really want to look at when you're apologizing, be specific. I'm sorry for what I said when it did this, because my intention was not to hurt you. And that really hurts me that you were hurt. So how can we go from here? What can we do to make it better? Right? Like those types of things, like actually show that you care, right? That part.
Sometimes that seems like it's too much to ask.
It's rough
We
out here, yo.
we're gonna keep it on that topic. What's the biggest communication mistakes couple make during arguments?
Throwing old stuff in there, right? So you out here talking about not washing the dishes, and then you want to say, "Well, when you stood up to me against your mama, you know what I mean? Like you didn't take my side in 1967. Like these are not what we do, right? When an argument is done, it's done. I've been pretty good about this, right? Especially in the beginning, right? I'm not always perfect, but I will say that that's one of the things I try to do, and my memory's kind of shot, but is not to bring up old stuff. So once you all have gotten through it, okay, I'll tell you this story, right? So me and Andy went on a mission trip when we were dating to Kenya, right? And we was staying with a family that I knew, like my boy I went to college with and his wife. And I got out the shower and I came down to the kitchen. I heard them kikiing, the two guys, just laughing in the kitchen. I'm like, what they laughing at? He was talking about his ex-girlfriend, y'all. And how she used to help some things with his mama and all. I was like, oh, hell no. This man is all the way in Africa. We in Kenya, right? Far from home. Had to go from Miami to Heathrow to Kenya in a bus for 4 hours to get into the bush. I don't even know where I am. I tried to throw breadcrumbs. Hansel nor Gretel would find me, right? So I'm out here in the bush, and this man is talking about his ex. We are done, right? Done. So I remember going back into my room and slamming the door, and he was like, "Hey, babe, you okay in there?" I was ice silent, right? And he came back, and I had already dragged him to a couple of workshops. So he was like, "Hey, how are you feeling?" I was like, "Oh, he gonna ask that question. He gonna ask the good question. All right, fine." So we ended up talking it through. He apologized, all that stuff. By the next morning, we were laughing, right? And so my friend said, "Y'all gonna make it." And we said, "Why you say that?" He said, "It took me and my wife 2 years in therapy to figure out rebounding, right? The fact that y'all could be sitting here laughing the next morning, less than 24 hours, y'all gonna be all right, right? Too often do we also hold grudges, y'all. And I grew up with an aunt that wouldn't talk to her own daughter in her home for a month because she didn't wash the dishes, right? So that's the kind of dysfunction I grew up around. You know what I mean? Ice, the silent treatment, that stuff is deadly to your relationships. I want you to look up The Four Horsemen, right, by John Gottman, right? John Gottman. John Gottman is a relationship therapist, him and his wife, that would study couples over the span of 40 years, right? And every 4 years, he'd bring them into a love lab and just, say, bring up one point of contention. So this is just a regular apartment, and they'd have the EKG, and they take like a stress test, they take a blood test, they take a urine test, and literally they just see that couples literally every 4 years would have the same arguments. So some of these arguments are perpetual problems, like the shoes by the door, the underwear outside the hamper, like right next to the hamper, the dishes in the sink and not in the dishwasher. There's just some things that are going to be perpetual problems that you just got to be like, chalk it up to the game. Like, all right. So it's either you let it bother you, or you just be like, that's just a thing. That's just a thing, right? And then the other thing is the four horsemen are the things that he has delineated to say, I can tell if somebody is going to get divorced within 5 minutes of meeting them based on these four things. And just one of them is stonewalling. Stonewalling is where you can literally ice your person out and not talk to them for hours, days, weeks. That's not healthy for your relationship if you're actually trying to be in a relationship.
I call it the only child syndrome. But I will say this. Here's my caveat. I do maximum output first. You know what I mean? So it's never my immediate action to hit the silent treatment. But if I feel like I'm repeating myself over and over or I'm not getting through, then that's when the Iceman comes out. But yeah, I know. You've helped a lot of women find marriage and commitment. What do healthy couples consistently do differently?
Say thank you 3 times a day, right? So healthy couples consistently, statistically shown, they look for 3 times a day to say thank you. Just think about it. The little things. Oh, you picked up the thing. Thank you for that. Oh, you swept up the driveway. Thank you for that. Like, it ain't got really nothing to do. Oh, you took the dog out. Thank you for that. It's not like they did it for you, but they did something. Like, say thank you, right?
Yeah.
We become well, I'm Jamaican. And thank you in my culture is like right? Yeah, yeah, man, right?
You're done.
Like,
You're done. No.
yeah, yeah. Boop, boop. So it's like it's not really a thing to say thank you every 5 minutes. My husband's culture, it's like, look, when I hand you this plate, the word thank you, as the plate leaves my hand, needs to come out your mouth, right? Or it's a problem. Ungrateful, right? So I have been trained in the art of thank you since then. And you start to realize that, when you go out to dinner with folks and whatever, like, people don't be saying thank you. It's just like a given, like, they got it.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on, right? Like, where is the thank you? So the most successful couples say thank you.
That's
The
what's
most
up.
successful couples do date night, right? That's still like that adage, that old age thing, like going on a date night. That's a thing. And I really believe in trips. I really do. Like, so I host with my husband the Ultimate Couples Retreat, and we have a after party on Monday coming up. Y'all are invited, right? UltimateCouplesRetreat.com, right? We announce where we're going next year. But one of the things we do on this retreat is there are no workshops, right? Because I know some men or women don't do workshops, and we do like daily missions, and it's just about connection. You know, sometimes we think we have to go all deep with our spouse and dig up something that they did that bothered us. Like sometimes you okay to just have some fun. And so the most successful couples learn how to have fun with each other and not always bring up the hard stuff. I know the hard stuff is always there, the logistics, the children, the elderly, the bills, you know, it's always going to be there. And I start to realize like God did not create us to be so stressed. So you have to find moments in your day where you could just smile and have some fun. And if you're in a relationship, like have fun with the person you chose to be with, because that's why you chose to be with them. Hello?
Good stuff. What advice would you give someone over 35 who feels like love just might not happen for them anymore?
Oh man. So I was in Antigua the week before last because I was helping a friend with a book launch retreat. And this woman, 37, you know, Coach Cass, I think it's all over for me. Ma'am, you got like another 50 to 60 years on this earth. You haven't even lived half your life yet. And you over here giving up, becoming a nun, getting a cat, 17 of them. I just don't understand. So I have an uncle that's 70 that's getting married again this summer in the Bahamas. Yeah, he's 70, right? So when we start to, I have a client that just got married. She's 52, right? So when we start to think about love and what's available to us, don't give up. You know, like we are too easy to give up because we can't control it. So what I say to you is that you got control issues, right? It needs to happen a certain way by a certain time or you don't want it. But for instance, I had a client that lost her job, right? So she was a big area manager doing all the things and she lost her job. And we saw a whole
This
new
is
side of her. We're
recent.
like,
This is
wait,
recently.
it is recently, like
Yeah.
in the last month or two, right? And she lost her job, and we're like, wait a second, who are you? Because she went from having RBF to just smiling all the time. We're like, who are you? And so what she realized is that her job was killing her, right? Like the job was so stressful that she couldn't even fathom going on a date because she was just woe out. She was woe out, you know? And she got in a relationship since then. I'm talking about in the last 2 months. I'm like, wait a second, this is the same girl struggling to date. I can't do it. Never mind. To I'm in a whole exclusive
Right.
relationship. Like this
Vibing.
is bananas. So for my ladies who are 35, 45, 55, 65, like literally, what are the excuses? More than likely, you don't go out. More than likely, you don't know how to talk to men. More than likely, you spending time with the wrong men. More than likely, you in the wrong circle. More than likely, you surrounded by people that talk trash about relationship. More than likely, you've been up all night watching these Instagram reels instead of getting like real coaching from someone like me. You know what I mean? So it's more than likely you're just doing the wrong thing. Your mama didn't teach you how to date. That's the problem, right? She
Yeah.
didn't. She didn't
Yeah.
at all. She
Yeah.
said, "Bring home a good man eventually after you finish all these degrees, get all this money, stack your bank, da 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 da, get your prenup in order." You know, then she's like, "All right, now you can find someone, dear." Or why
Yeah.
don't you have somebody? That's the thing. How contradicting, right? Then at Christmas, they're like, "Where's your man? Why you ain't got nobody?" You be like, "Seriously? Where did you give me the playbook? You know what I mean? Which
Yeah.
man did you have? You know, yeah, you done had daddy for 57 years. Where's the playbook for that, huh? I can't go down to the old mill to find somebody. All right.
The mill, not the mill.
The mill.
Coach Cass in the building. I got a couple more for you. You've been so generous with your time. Sorry for the mishap early with the echo, but we seem to have a great flow. I want to thank everybody real quick just for being patient with us in the chat room and the audience. Thank you so much for your feedback. Appreciate you. You know, I'm growing this podcast week by week, and you know, this, like I said, is therapeutic for me, and I really have some amazing guests coming on here, dropping some gems. And Coach Cass, I'm so happy that I have you on, and I just want to take a moment to say that. But as we continue on, That one hits deep. Half the internet is acting emotionally unavailable while privately watching wedding videos at, like you said, doom scrolling at 1, 2 in the morning, eating chicken wings in the dark. So we know what you say to be true. But if Coach Cass could give one final common sense PhD lesson about love and relationships to the world, what would it be?
Oh man. Just let it rest on everything. You know, I am not that profound. Here we go.
You good,
I
sis.
really bel I really believe that when love is at the base, everything else falls in place. So if we start to act more with love, like the more it'll come to us, right? So being able to look in the mirror and say, where do I make room for love in my life? What relationships are truly important to me and where do I make time for those? And if in my hearts of hearts, I want to be in a romantic relationship, where's the space for that? Where are the actions to that? And do I need help? And not judging myself for it, right? Because listen to me, I'm not that great of a cook. So what do? I go hang out with my husband's family to watch and figure out what they got going on. Me and my daughter, we watch videos and test out recipes. My mother would go to Costco and get the things and say, make it yourself. Like, so I wasn't raised by chefs, but I like it, right? Me and my daughter, this is how we bond, right? Trainer. I'm not I'm not the best fit person. So you hire a trainer, right? Nutritionist. If you eat bad, you nutritionist. Like if you want to get better at something, you study it, right? You hire someone if you want to get there faster, quicker, better. If you want to be in a great community. So that's my only thing. It's like there's nothing wrong with you if you decide to hire someone to help you with the most important area of your life. We downplay it, but I'm going to tell you right now, being in a great relationship impacts everything in a good way. And too often we buy into the nightmare, but what if you started buying into your dreams?
Mm. I hope that wasn't a drop the mic. It really sounded like one. Co- Coach Castle, I'm gonna have you go. I'm gonna have you go down a little overtime with me. Just a few little rapid fire questions for you before I let you go. All
I
right,
love
is
you.
that cool?
Yeah,
All right, sounds good. Red flag or harmless? Checking your partner's location.
it depends.
Appreciate your honesty. Go
It's
for it.
like, listen, me and my husband got that life 360 on lock. I know exactly where he is at every time. So it depends means we have to have a conversation about it. If it's cool, then it's cool. Like that's a conversation that comes up in our community often and it becomes something of safety. So I'm going to say that it's a green flag as long as you've had a conversation about it, not in a stalker way where you planted something.
That's what's up. All right. Is soft life culture helping or hurting relationships?
I would say it's hurting because soft life kind of gets you in this place where you do nothing, right? And relationship takes work, period, unless you're looking to just hire someone to be in a relationship with. And that's a whole nother kind of escort service type of.
Good stuff. Can relationships survive without physical attraction?
No,
Mm,
you need to be
mm.
physically attracted or you won't fight for it. Like I have good friends that I ask all the time that do marriage counseling, like therapists, right? They're in the crux of people that are trying to get divorced and what they have seen over the decades of them doing therapy, like two people, is that people who were never really attracted to each other don't fight for the relationship. So you still got to think that man or that woman is fine, right? Like something has to be attractive to you in order to fight for it. Otherwise, you'd be like, they was ugly anyway. Bye.
I'm dead. Who falls in love faster, men or women?
The stereotype women.
Mm, okay. All right. Um, is being too independent ruining dating?
Yes. There has to be a codependence. Like, what's the point of dating or being in a relationship if you could do everything yourself? Then go be by yourself.
Say less. That part. Should couples go through each other's phones?
I don't see a problem with going through each other's phones just because my husband don't check his text message. So it's kind of like a once a week thing that I help him to say, you never responded to this person. You know what I mean? So for me, full transparency helps to keep the window closed and you don't want to crack the window. There's a lot of people out here that'll try you and try your relationship, right? And there has to be some level of transparency to say, you know, this is what happened, this is what's going on, how should I respond? And you want to have that kind of dialogue. I don't think it's healthy to be like, no, you can't see my phone. No, you can't. Like, what exactly are you hiding? Like, my child can be on my phone and see everything unless I hit it, right? So it's like being able to have a transparent relationship gets you a whole lot further. When you start saying, no, I don't want you to see my text, then what's in your text that's so unseeable?
Would you say that's for a marriage or that could be for any type of relationship?
Well, I would say, yeah, deeper in the relationship. This is not just I just started dating you, hand me your phone, right? It's more of like in the exclusive relationship, headed towards marriage, more marriage type of situation. Yeah. It's not
Absolutely.
like just dating. No, no.
That's what's up. Well, Coach Cass, that's all I have for you
That's
tonight.
it. You sure?
Yeah, no,
You
you've
got
been
all your
great.
questions answered?
I did, and with the little mishap, I usually have it an hour, but we extended it, so I just want to thank you for for doing that.
You
I
want to
want you to.
redo the intro just in case?
No, I got you. We got this. We
Yeah.
got this. We
Okay.
got this. I just want to give you the opportunity and give you the platform to obviously let everyone know how they can support you. A lot of people who are in my chat, a lot of people who rock with me know that if I bring somebody on, it's not just about collecting the information and running with it. It's about spreading the word and how we could support you, how they can buy your book, where they can buy your book from, how they can go on that vacation with you and your husband at the couples retreat, how they can show up for you on Tuesday. We build community. That's what this podcast is meant to do, is to build community. So now you're an official member of the community, and I want to give you the platform to be able to share all the things with everyone that's listening now or later.
Okay, I appreciate that, right? So I do have a live event that happens in October 2nd through the 4th of 2026. Join me. This is specifically for professional women. It's in Hollywood by the beach, right? So it's 3 days where we just get to pour into you and we talk about dating, talk about relationships and how to really make this thing work. So for those of you listening in, $100 off with the code WWL26. You go to wantedwomanlive.com, right? Wantedwoman.live.com, right? So you could do that. That's my gift to you. I also have a free masterclass coming up on Tuesday, wantedwoman.com/class, right? So that's coming up 12 o'clock on Tuesday. And in terms of like trips, we travel, right? So I have a trip going to Barbados in February. I have a, thank you, love. I have our ultimate couples retreat. We do have a wonderful session coming up on Monday. So if any of you are married, it's for married folk only. Okay. So that is coming up on Monday. We're announcing where we're going next year. And I'll tell you, almost all the couples have already signed up for next year. So we only have like 5 more spots left. So Ultimate Couples Retreat. You can follow me on IG at Inspire Many. And the book, let's see. The book is on Amazon, right? Wanted Woman, right? So that's how it looks. That's me and my husband. It's not a model. I'm actually married. The Busy Woman's Guide to Attracting and Choosing a Love That Lasts. So y'all could cop the book. It's a great reminder of the things step by step of how to really build your confidence when it comes to dating, how to choose, how to create your love vision, all that good stuff. Even touches on what my TED Talk is about, building a community of love. So yeah, I got a lot of stuff going on to support
You're
support the
Jamaican,
folks. I am Jamaican.
so that goes without saying, right?
I am Jamaican, you know what I'm saying? But just know that we got a live event, and if you really want support in your love journey, just message me. Let's have a conversation. We'll get on a sales call so that I'll really look at what are the three main things that are your challenges, and that's where we'll start in terms of your treatment plan for joining us in the Real Love Network. And that's the name of my community. Yes, I have 97 websites, and it's okay.
And also, please don't forget that, she also specializes in uh, being a woman's love coach, specifically for women that are 35 and older.
Hmm.
A lot of you strong, amazing women going through this weird space in your life where you've accomplished all the things and you've done all the things, and you're like, okay, look, I have a great job, car, I have my own place. Why are things happening for me? And she's definitely there to uh, help you work through those nuances and hopefully get you on the better side of love. Correct?
Yeah. Amen. Yep, exactly. And I got a free class coming up on Tuesday, so y'all can join me in the class.
All
Just go
right, that's
ahead.
what's up. Coach Cass, thank you so much. Stay on the line with me. Everyone else, I appreciate you. Next week, we do it again. Common Sense PhD podcast. Also join me Thursday at 9 o'clock for R&B therapy, where we have some musical therapy with classic R&B joints from back in the days. 9 o'clock right here with your boy Papa Keith live. All right. So until next time.